Someone with an anxious attachment might also develop these styles of thinking. These are called thinking distortions, and they come in many different forms, but they distort the way that we perceive the things that happen to us. One common way of doing that is through mind reading, and the anxious person might think, I jump to a lot of conclusions about the future and about what others are thinking. So they have a preoccupation about the perception that others have on them. Minimization, I disregard my resources and my positive experiences with others. So oftentimes when a person is going into an experience or an event, they are not acknowledging their positive attributes and resources. Magnification, I overestimate my risk of getting hurt or of doing something wrong or getting into trouble. And so in a relationship, it might sound like, that's it, we should break up after a minor disagreement. Overgeneralization, I take a single event and make broad conclusions. This will always be this way. Labeling, I assign people and experiences as good and bad as a shortcut to keep me safe. This is also a form of polarized thinking. So it's this very black and white style of thinking with very little room for gray. I have a you're with me or you're against me attitude about others. Loyalty is super important to me, and I keep score in relationships. So someone with polarized thinking oftentimes has a very transactional style mentality when it comes to their relationships. So they might tally up, I did all this for this person, they haven't reciprocated, that must mean that I'm not good enough, or they don't love me, they don't care about me, and they end up kind of in that mental match. Mental filtering is my core belief is that people will leave me, so I only pay attention to evidence that supports this belief and I ignore the efforts of others. So this is kind of tricky. And so a person who has extreme anxious attachment will oftentimes not be able to see the evidence that people care about them. And they will only focus on things that they think are happening that are against them, or that people are out to get them or trying to hurt them. The rule master, I can be very critical and I have strict expectations of how things should be. This keeps me safe because I can anticipate and control outcomes. So one of the other symptoms of the anxious attachment is this intolerance of uncertainty. So they like to be certain about outcomes and about their future so they can plan. Personalization, I make a lot of assumptions about the intentions of other people. A lot of times this has to do with projection. So if I would react